on a strike called a ridge hand. Okay? Now a ridge hand is a strike that uses the ridge of the hand. Alright? So that's it. Class dismissed. See you later. Oh, okay, no, let's go into more detail. Alright, the ridge of the hand is this portion here, the front side. Okay? Not this side here, this would be like the Shuto side. But this is the front side, the ridge hand side that we're going to use. Okay? Now the way we do a ridge hand is we take our hand like this, we tuck our thumb so that the part of our thumb is flat with this portion of our palm here, sort of like that meat of our hand. Okay? Like that. Sort of like that. Okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to try to hit with any part of this arm. Okay? Hands, great. Arm, anything like that. Okay? And targets can be a variety of things. We can hit low, like the groin, for example. Boom. Like that. We can hit high if we want, like up on the neck. Something like that. Totally dependent on what position you're in and what is a good target to hit. The one thing you want to keep in mind, though, is footwork with this. When I do a ridge hand with my right hand, I do not want my right foot to be in front. This is not what we want. Okay, this is not, just saying it. Alright, we want to make sure our opposite foot is in front. So if we're in a fighting stance and we do a ridge hand, whether low or high, we're going to lunge in right here, boom, and strike. Now we want to make sure when we throw a ridge hand that we do not have our elbow locked out straight like this. Because if we hit a hard target and our elbow is straight, we can get our elbow hyperextended and bent backwards a little bit. We want to make sure there's a little bit of a bend in our elbow, alright, so we have more strength in that joint, alright, and we can make our elbow nice and protected, okay? So whether it's high or low, okay, when I lunge in, I'm going to lunge in and strike with that elbow ridge hand, okay? Now obviously it wouldn't be like a primary strike that I would use in a situation, but if I'm inside, we're doing punches or something like that, I may throw a ridge hand here, something like that. Alright, so that's the concept. It's a shorter range strike, which is why we want to make sure we are in closer with a nice lunge when we do it, okay? And we want to make sure we have the opposing foot in front, okay? So not the same foot, not like that. This is just, you're kind of out of the battle here. Half your weapons are pointed off into nowhere. You want to be here. You want to follow up with something else, okay? That's what we want to make sure we do, alright? So one more time with our ridge hand. We want to lunge, okay? If we're even in a neutral position like this, and I'm going to use my right hand, stepping with my off foot, hand comes up, boom, throw that ridge hand, bend in the elbow, tuck that thumb. Okay, if I go the other side, I know it's going to be weird, but yeah, give it a shot. Alright, so from here, I'm just going to step with the opposite foot, hand comes up, and boom, hitting with that ridge hand right there. Okay, same position, opposite foot in front. Okay, remember, the target doesn't have to be low, it can be high, you can mix it up. If you want to kind of make up your own drill, you can kind of go like this. Maybe double up on your hands for a second, just for fun. I'm going to probably just mix it up, back and forth. So if I can do a drill like this, make it up, down here, low, boom, using a high target. Boom, up there, maybe using a high target over here, boom, maybe a low target down there, boom. I'm just kind of mixing it up, okay? So whatever you're doing, practice with good form, making sure you're lunging properly, the proper foot's in front, bend in the elbow, really important. I don't want you guys to be messing up your elbow by hitting a hard target and getting your elbow hyperextended. Keep a bend in it, even a little bit, okay, will help protect that elbow, okay? Ridge hand, powerful close range strike, awesome. Alright, so we're going to move on to our round kick defense. Okay? Now, let's say Kai here is going to do a round kick at my leg right here, any part of my body. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to kind of come in, he's trying to do a kick, boom, like that. Alright? Now, what I want to do is I want to defend against that kick. Alright, so what I'm going to do is when that leg comes in, I'm going to lift up this foot and I'm going to make a shield out of my legs and my arm. Okay? So from right here, when he comes in, my elbow is going to touch the outside of my knee, okay? And I'm going to make like a shield. So from right here, I'm going to defend it like that. Okay? Notice where my arm placement is. I'm not in here like this, and I'm not in here like this. Okay? I want to make sure that my elbow is on the outside of my knee, so that when he hits here, my leg is helping support it. Okay? If I had it, say, on top, if he were to kick my arm, it's going to be moving out of the way, all right? Or if it's on the inside, it's going to be moving out of the way, okay? We want our strong leg muscles to kind of take the brunt of that hit, so we want to make a defense like that. You'll notice that my hand stays up on my head. Really common is when you do this, when you go like this. When you take your elbow down to meet your knee. We don't want to see that, because that's where we get hit in the head, okay? So we want to make sure we keep our hand up high, bring our knee up to our elbow, all right, and make sure we keep our hand next to our head, okay? What happens if someone grabs a hold of your collar? Okay, from a self-defense standpoint, we have a couple different ways of responding to that. We have different levels of response. Level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. Okay? Level 1 kind of response is when I'm just trying to get out of that situation without fighting or anything like that, not trying to escalate the situation or anything like that. Level 2 is where I'm feeling like I'm in danger and I need to do something quick to get out of that situation so I can strike vital areas and things like that. But my primary objective is to get out of there and escape. Level 3 is where I'm going to go ahead and do some damage to the opponent in vital areas again, like hitting the eyes, the throat, or the groin. And I'm going to end up with control over that person, like I'm holding them down, all right? So they are being held until, someone comes, or a teacher, or a police officer, whatever the situation happens to be. Okay, that's level 3. And level 4 is when I end up holding the opponent down to the floor or in a controlled position where I haven't done any serious damage to them. Okay, so what we're going to work on right now is a level 3 collar grab escape. So again, we're trying to create immediate damage to the opponent by hitting their eyes, their throat, or their groin immediately to kind of protect ourselves and fight back. But we're also going to end up in a controlled position where we're able to hold that person to the floor. All right, so I'm going to have Kai come over here, and I'm going to borrow him here today. Come over here, son. Mini-me here. All right, so I'm going to teach him how to do the level 3 collar grab escape, because I don't think he's done it before. All right, you just kind of watch the steps on how I do it, so you guys can kind of see what's going to happen here, okay? All right, so Kai, what I want you to do is, I'm going to grab a hold of your shirt like this, okay, your collar, and here's where we're going to go ahead and start our defense, okay? I want you to take this hand over here and pin my hand to your chest so I can't get away easily, okay? And I want, at the same time, this hand to come on out and do an eye gouge to my eyes, okay? All right? Once that happens, we're going to go ahead and grab a hold of my hand, okay? But let's do that initial step. Okay, so I'm here, trap and strike. Very good, very good. Exactly what I want. Make sure you get a good pivot in there. Okay, pivot when you strike, right? Good, like that. Bam. Okay, getting your fingers wide. Remember, eye gouge isn't like straight. Eye gouge are hands extended. So here you have to be like kind of accurate. Here you have lots of chances to potentially hit an eye, right? So from right here, I want you to reach across and you're going to grab my hand. Now we're going to switch sides for this. All right. Now here's how you're going to grab this hand. Okay. I want this thumb right here to get in here and weave in between my pointer finger and the thumb, and your hand is going to try and grab all the way across the top of my hand like that. Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to try to roll my hand up like this. Okay, like that. And your other hand's going to come and help. Okay? And you'll see how that works from a closer perspective in a second. Okay? From right here, Kai, what you're trying to do is you're going to try to put pressure on my wrist. So you're going to try to like roll my wrist forward and step back with your right foot, your back foot. Good. And now as I come down, because that doesn't feel great, you're going to throw a knee in my head. Bam! Like that. Okay? So once you throw that knee again, knee, you're going to go ahead and plant back down where your fighting stance is, and you're going to take your arm and go over the top like that, okay? And then we're going to switch sides here so you can see what he's doing. All right, now what I want you to do is I want you to kind of push my shoulder to the floor, kind of like by sitting like a scarf hold position. Remember scarf hold where your other leg comes out? So I'm going to end up on the ground on my stomach, and you're going to put your left leg out there to the front. Yes, like that. Now you see how you are kind of like holding my wrist and you're putting pressure on my elbow? That's what I want you to be doing, and you're going to hold me down in that position. It's really hard for me to get up, okay, in this situation because you're putting pressure on my elbow. And if I try to fight, you just kind of put more pressure on my elbow. Yeah, exactly. Like lean on it, just like that, okay? Try it again. Here we go, ready? Here we go. So from here, I grab a hold of you, trap my hand, keep it in a way that you can get your hand in there. Eye gouge, put your thumb in that gap. There we go. Good, good, good. Roll my wrist to the front. Good. Now you see how your hand is here? You don't want your hand to be here because it helps support my wrist. Okay, you want it to be here. Okay, like that. So your two hands are kind of holding on to mine like you're, grabbing an apple or something like that. All right, and you want my wrist to have some pain in it. So remember, not roll that way. Okay, once you bring my hand to the front position like that, so my hand is straight up and down, you're going to go like this. You're going to rotate it like that. That's the way you're going to do it. Okay, so try it again. From here, trap and strike. Good. Thumb in the right spot. Good. Roll it to the middle of your chest. Now remember, use your body too. So don't just use your hands. You're going to use your body and step back. Yes, and knee. Boom, like that. And now you're going to throw your arm over the top, holding tight. Now as close as you can get to my arm, the better. Okay, the further in here you can get, the better. Now go ahead and push down and lift up. Yes, there we go, good. That's the right idea, good, like that, okay? So remember, when you take me down, okay, when you're holding my hand like this and trapping and holding like this, what you're doing is you're gonna pull up on this side and push down with your shoulder, okay? You want my arm to kind of go, like that, okay? So that's what you're trying to do, okay? One more time. Let's go from this side. Okay, here we go. You're gonna grab a hold, trap and strike, grab a hold, roll it to the front. Good. Now, no need to interlock your fingers. No need to go like that. Okay. Just kind of get a grip one over the other. If you go like this, sometimes it's harder to get your fingers released. Okay. So trap. Because remember, you've trapped. Okay. Yeah. Get that thumb in the right spot. Roll it to the front. Good. Like that. Good. Double it up right there. So twice as powerful. Okay. Step back with your right foot, and yes, and then knee. Boom. Now throw your arm over the top. Good. Now push me to the floor with that elbow pressure. Good. And now you're up in a control position. Okay? All right, let me show you what that grip looks like a little closer here. All right? So what Kai's trying to do when he's grabbing my hand is he's going to trap my hand here. Boom. So now I can't really get away as easily. Okay? He's going to strike my eyes, and then his thumb is going to go to this part of my hand right there. That's where he wants to be. He wants to ideally get his grip all the way around the other part of my hand here, so he can kind of like roll it like that. Okay, so if I were to do it on him, my thumb would end up in here, my fingers would go over the top of his hand, and again, my hand's bigger than his, obviously, but again, we're imagining doing this on someone's similar size. Okay, from right here, once I get this grip like that, I've got nice control over his hand. Okay, and like that. All right, and then what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get this pressure like that. See how his body responds? Because that nerve in there gets pinched, and it does not feel very good, okay? So one more time, go ahead, trap, strike, weave that thumb in there, get a good grip. Good, remember, it has to be fast. You're gonna roll it to the front and hold. Now notice how let go a second with his hand. He's keeping this close to his chest. He's not trying to break my grip, okay? That's actually gonna be a bad thing. He wants to kind of keep my grip there, so my hand is harder to get away. I'm holding on to his material and his gi, and it's kind of trapping my fingers. So now he has a better control. So from here, he's going to step back, do the knee, bang, and flow over the top. All right? Good. Okay, so if we were to do this without a partner, go ahead, Kai, thank you. Go ahead and stand over there. Okay, someone's going to grab a hold of my collar. I'm going to trap and strike. Boom. Okay, I'm lunging a little to the side here. All right, eye gouge here. Get that grip. All right, start to turn it, start to roll it. When you roll it, this hand comes and helps. We step back. That's where the pressure on the wrist should be. Throw the knee, boom. Step and throw your arm over the top. And we want to really pull this arm here, okay, that's the invisible arm right now. Holding it tight, pushing down and lifting up, and we're just going to sit to our scarf hold position. All right, I'm going to go down slow here. And end up like this. Okay, so their arm is underneath our shoulder. Okay, we're holding this, and it's a really, really, really effective hold down position. Okay, so when we're practicing, make sure we're doing multiple steps at the same time. Okay, so I'm doing the trap and the eye gouge and the lunge. The grab is separate. Now this is where I'm going to do the rotation, step back, knee. Okay, make it fluid. All right. Now when you do this with a partner, okay, what you want to make sure is that this wrist pain right here works best if there's a bend in their elbow. Okay? If it's out straight like this, it's not as effective. Okay? But if there's a bend in their elbow, it works really, really well. Try it on your parents. They're going to have a lot of fun with that. But go slow. Seriously, it hurts when you do it fast. It can really tweak their wrist. Okay? So make sure you get a bend in the elbow, bend in the wrist, and make sure their hand is straight up and down. Okay? It's not going to work if my hand's sideways. Okay? It's not going to work if it's too much this way either. It has to be, my hand has got to be straight. All right? If it's hand straight up and down, that's what you want. And then a bend in the elbow is best. Okay? So practice with that. Play with it a little bit. Be careful. Go slow. All right? And then we'll get the more fluid motions later on in the month. All right? Good luck with that. All right, we're working on our wrist takedown at this point. This is a joint manipulation takedown where we're using a little bit of pain compliance by applying a lot of pressure on that wrist joint right there and getting them to want to comply with what we want to do. And they'll do so by trying to alleviate the pain that we're causing in their wrist. So we're going to imagine this situation off of a cross, and we're going to start with our evasive counter 1. Now, if you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. We'll focus on the wrist takedown. I'll tell you where that particular portion starts. From right here, he's going to punch, and I'm going to use my evasive counter 1, where I'm redirecting that hand and punching back at this point. Now I'm going to do this. I'm going to throw a back fist here as I pivot my feet, and I'm going to trap this arm against my chest. So I'm going to hit here. Again, this could be a back fist, it could be an eye gouge, it could be a shuto, whatever from right here. Holding this in position. Once I make contact here, I'm going to go ahead and keep my elbow up to defend against punches. Grab this opponent's hand right here. This one's going to slide around here to join that, getting a 2-on-1 kind of pressure. And I'm going to lunge in and hold on tight. Notice how I have my grip here. My thumbs are on the middle knuckle of his hand, like that. Now he can have a closed fist, and I'll have the same thumbs here with my fingers across, just getting a good grip here. Or his open hand, I'll have my thumbs here, fingers crossed like that. Either way, okay? But the point is, thumb position is key, whether his fist is closed or it's open. All right? The other thing with the grip is we want to make sure we're not supporting his wrist joint. Okay? We want to get this wrist joint to bend. All right? If I've got my hand here in the wrong spot, supporting his wrist, I'm acting like a wrist brace. And here, I'm not going to get that kind of painful hyper bend going on here, okay? I want to make sure I can get to bend. Here, I'm supporting it. It's like I've got a splint here, holding it tight. We don't want that. So we want to go ahead and get this grip where I'm holding onto his hand, lunging in, boom, keeping tight to his body. That's going to help alleviate that potential difficulty right there, right? And I'm going to apply pressure. There are roughly two ways to apply pressure here. One way is we can imagine that there's like, say, a wall behind him or some sort of barrier. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push down, and I'm going to take this pinky, and imagine this pinky's trying to touch the ground somewhere here where my foot is. I'm going to push down, apply that pressure, and I'm going to swing my left foot out of the way and follow up to my knee on rib, shin behind his head, having good control over his arm here. From here, the technique is over for wrist takedown. I can do a finish, like finishing technique 2, for example, if I want. Okay, I can go ahead and get to that position. If you know what that one is, bam! You can use that finishing technique 2 to kind of get to a safe distance and do some striking on your way out. All right? Or finishing technique 1, whatever you want to do. But the wrist takedown ends basically when the opponent is on the ground. You are knee on rib, shin behind the head, ready to move on to something else. Let's look at it from the other side. All right, evasive counter 1 comes in, right here, boom, like that. All right? I'm going to pivot, throw a back fist, strike. Now, you can't really see over here, I'm blocking it, but you will, you did it on the other side. I'm going to reach down and grab a hold with this hand here. Thumb on back knuckle right there, middle. And then this one's going to slide around and double up. Okay? Lunge in, boom. And I'm going to apply pressure here. Now, I can also push him backwards. Just keep this pressure going backwards, where I can take this pinky and try to touch the ground somewhere back there. Just kind of like lunge it or walk it, whatever I want to do, following up and keeping pressure on the wrist. Okay? That is really the main idea here. Whenever you do your wrist takedown, you're trying to have that pressure on their wrist until they hit the floor. You can't start applying it and then release it at any point. The minute you release it, they can respond. Like if I'm in here like this, I've done all the strike, I'm applying pressure, now I release pressure. The minute I release that pressure, he's able to move. All right, I'm not in the best spot here. All right, bad news, not good. Okay, you've got to keep that pressure on the wrist. So when you do this with your training partner, they should feel this pressure all the way to the floor, non-stop. If I were to do it slow, pressure, 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 all the way, not stopping, okay, and just following to where the opponent is landing, all right? So make sure when you do this maneuver and this takedown, you are applying pressure all the way, okay? Now, if your partner is invisible, you don't have one, you can practice this just by the steps. Boom. Grab, double up, lunge in, push down, swing around, all right, like that. Or if you want to walk them backwards, same thing, boom, boom, grab, double up, lunge in, and just keep going. Pressure down, okay? Either way. The key is what? I hope you said keep pressure on, because you got to keep the pressure on the whole time. That's how it works. One more time. Here we go. We're here, defending, I'm defending, I'm defending. Technically, this is where a wrist takedown would start. Okay, I've got an arm. All right, let's say I just started in this position somehow. I'm going to grab a hold of his hand, double up, lunge in, and then apply pressure, whether that's swing around, or whether that's go all the way with the opponent to the back. Whichever way they fall, whatever way you need to do to keep that pressure on the wrist, that's what we want you to do, okay? All right, so make sure, partners, when you're doing it with your instructor, quote unquote, make sure they're keeping pressure on the wrist. They should feel pain all the way to the floor, all right? And do it slow when you're working with your parents because you don't want to mess up their wrist, okay? All right, practice that. Good luck. Okay, it's time for Sensei Moore's supplementation right here, okay? He wants to add a little bit of a pointer for this wrist takedown, okay? Go ahead, Sensei Moore.
Okay, so as you grab the wrist, make sure your fingers are right there by the knuckle. When you're applying wrist pressure, when you lunge in, make sure that he's going down to the ground before you swing your leg behind you. Because if you don't, then he's going to be able to get your back, or he's going to get out. So once he starts to go down to the ground, then swing your leg behind you, and then go to knee on floating rim.
Whereas if he were to do it the other way, he steps back too early, right here, and I'm not falling yet. He's kind of actually getting less pressure on my wrist, right? So now I can turn around, now I've got behind it, right? So Sensei Moore is completely right. You want to make sure you have pressure down and the opponent is falling to the ground if you're doing that swing around one, all right? Otherwise, you can get into a bad position. Thank you, sir. Awesome. Remember that detail, guys. It's important.